The next segment we're going to be dealing with is the Federation Treasurer's Annual Report, and that involves Sam Crain, our treasurer, and Dwight Weaver, chair of the Budget Committee. And Peter, I'm assuming you're going to be the
I've got it on my screen, so I'll bring it up over.
We'll be under the budget.
Yeah, and Dwight Weaver, your mic is live.
But
Okay,
Dwight
thank you.
You need to wait on Dwight for the budget. First, we need to do the status funds.
Let me go ahead and introduce you from this. The Budget Committee took on a different role this year. We worked actually with Sam as the treasurer and reviewing the budget before it went to the board for approval and publication in the Beacon about 2 months back. And as you can see from the report, the Budget Committee report's been submitted. I'm not going to try to steal Sam's thunder, but if you look in the comments, those are pretty self-explanatory, but the Budget Committee recommends the proposed budget to the North Carolina Federation membership for approval, and this authorizes the Budget and Teller Committee to include the budget. Sam can provide you the specific details regarding the budget that's going to appear in the ballot. Thank you all.
Thanks, Dwight. Now, we're jumping ahead. We first need to do the status of funds. That's just right there. And then we should do the budget. At least that's what's on the program that way. I hope people can see the status of the funds. It's unfortunately.
Yes, we can see it. We can see it, Sam.
It's wider than what you got on there. I don't know if there's a way to get it bigger or not.
Oh, I can get it a little smaller, Sam, here.
Last year, the people in the members of NARFE chose to change the fiscal year. We've been in the past, fiscal year went from May to April, and we were able to produce in the final of the fiscal year expenses and income and expenses at the May meetings. But due to a situation where officers were being elected by ballot, it would take till June or July before we knew who the officers were. And the situation was that their money was being spent before they even came on from the previous administration. So we changed it to coincide with the fiscal year with the election of officers. So when the election of officers is over with every other year, we have a budget that starts the same time they do. And that's why now I cannot give you the budget and the actual amount until August. But as right now, I can show you the budget and the actual amount for last year, which is the first two columns there. Last year, we had a budget of $33,000 income and expenses. We try to always make sure that that's balances. And you can see on this column there, it says fiscal year 2020 budget and fiscal year 2020 actual. It's a comparison of the two. And the income there comes from the 10% money that we get from your dues from national headquarters. They send that to us once a month, and then once a year we assess the per capita from each chapter that's in the organization, and that's at a rate of $2.50 per person. And then there's other places where we receive money, unfortunately, from closing chapters, and we did. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. There's funds that we received from ads to the Beacon. We started doing that for the ads to the Beacon, getting money from vendors for that. And then the Virginia chapter is something for next year, and sale of anniversary coins, that's going to be next year. Funds donated for new banners, that was money that was donated to us. We'll help the chapters create new banners with new logos on it. And then we have a money market account that we draw interest from, which is very small. You can see that. Anyway, the total budget last year, which ended July 31st, was $33,000. And then if you scroll down, because well, there you can see that our income is actually more than what we budgeted for. So it's $34,340.32. Then you can scroll down, you can see the expenses, and there are the expenses for each of the officers in the Federation, along with some other expenses that we have. I'm not going to go through all of those, but you can look through them. And then you also have money that you budget for, which you went a little bit too far, but we also have to spend money. So we budget for the newspaper. We have the ballot and teller and mailing the ballots. That's something we started several years back. You have somebody's got a cursor or something on there.
Yeah, I was just trying to point it out to them.
Appreciate that. And then there's other kind of small expenses. The one thing we have is recruitment supplies. That's where we buy supplies that you use at the health fair. And then there's some other projects on down that we didn't have last year, but we will this year. So if you go down a little further, you'll see that we had a budget of $33,000 for expenses, and we spent $32,371.27. So we almost spent all of the budget that we had this year. Now, if you go back up, you're back up to the top. That was for last year, which ended 31st of July. This year started 1 August, and it's going to go through into July, but of course we've got 3 more months to go in the budget. So this year we lowered our budget down to $25,500. And you can see there that we've gotten a budget and actual income through April 30th. You can compare those two. So far we've received 10% funds of $13,032 versus a budget of $15,895, which means we've got 3 more months left to go. And also the same thing on the per capita. This should be already done. We've got 99% of that money in, and we expected to get 4,000, and we've got 3,876. You go on down, there's a closing of chapters. We've received about the same amount. The funds from the anniversary coins that haven't come in yet, but we're expecting to get about $1,500 off of that. So we put that in the budget for this year. Again, there's the funds for the new banners. If anybody's interested in any chapter interested in getting their banners redone. Total of the budget is $25,500, and we've already received $21,191.18. That's NBA. So we're pretty close to what the budget is, but like I said, we've got 3 more months to go. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the expenses. Our expenses have been curtailed this year considerably because of COVID pandemic. We've not been traveling any. We've not been meeting physically. We used to meet 3 times a year, 3 to 4 times a year. We don't do that anymore. So we all meet virtually through the computers. So we've not spent very much money this year, which is, I guess, a good thing. But we're not being able to go out and do things that we used to do. But if you're going down a little bit, you'll see where we have spent some money. We always have to spend money for the ballot teller and mailing the ballots. And we've also got the vegan newsletter that we send out every 3 months. So that's an ongoing expense. And we've got some new things this year. The anniversary coins, we've already spent $532 on that to buy the coins. And we've got new members from last year on the board, so we had to buy some badges for them. And then we're working on computer programs, which is our webinar we're working with today, and other webinars that we use, and that's where the computer programs that we've had to buy to use for that. So we've got a budget of $25,500, and we've only spent $57,97.46. Which sounds like we're saving a lot of money, but we're not doing as much as we used to do physically. So, again, we've only got 3 more months for the rest of the year, and I'll report the end of the year after we finish up in July. Any questions or comments? I would appreciate it.
I encourage you, if you have questions, to ask them. You will have an opportunity to vote on this with the ballot that is coming out. So there is no vote today, but certainly this is your opportunity to have questions answered. Peter, do you have anyone with a raised hand on this?
I see one raised hand, but that's, I think, from Victor from making a suggestion. And there's one person says, share a little more info about that beacon.
The beacon? Okay. That's a newsletter that we send out once a quarter. It should go to all the members of the Federation. And we've got Velma Geyser does the newsletter. It's a newspaper, I guess, once a quarter.
I've just done that
Sam,
person who asked the question is self-muted, so if they want to unmute
Peter,
and ask them directly, that'd be fine.
Peter, you got me? Can you hear me, Sam?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I think the question, the beacon, there's been a move over the last couple of years to reduce the cost of the beacon by doing more electronic transmission and less mailing of a paper copy. And that may be that may be part of the question, is that the cost is going down on the beacon, and that's the reason. It's not any less commitment to providing the information. It's just finding a more effective, cost-effective way of making the distribution.
That part I did understand, but with the reason I asked for more information about it, for some reason I was not getting it, and then when it's being submitted for on the internet to read it, the font is so small you can't read it. And I realized the importance of saving, but is anything that could be done about that too?
I think you can contact the editor and ask for a mailed copy, even though you do have an email address.
I hate to be specific, but you didn't get responses when you sent in questions. I didn't, not you. I didn't.
Well, Henry, can you take her name and address that to the editor and see if she can send her a copy or something?
If you could send me an email with your name and what you want, it's Bratlie, Bratlie, at Bratlie, BRATTLIE.com. Excuse me one second. I got to take a call from our next speaker, or one of our speakers.
Okay. Can we go to the budget then?
I think we got one more. James Koshy. He had his hands raised. Okay. He's
question and a half, Sam. Could you let us know what our current balance is, cash on hand?
I didn't understand the question. Our current what?
Could you let us know what the current cash balance is of cash on hand?
Okay. Let me get that for you.
Isn't it about, Sam, wasn't it that 21,000 that you had that's in the checking account that you mentioned yesterday?
I got it right here. It wasn't on this report. Our balance right now is $31,437.
Thank you.
That's in the check account. Anything else?
Oh, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Can you go to the next item is the budget? Can you go to that?
I got a comparison. Let's see this.
Yeah, that's the budget that's going to be on the ballot for is the next item, which I sent you a proposed budget for fiscal year 21-22.
There it is. I'm sorry, I brought up the the same one 2 times in a row. So I'm sorry, Sam.
It is. Oh, that's very small. I don't know if you can make it bigger or not.
I can increase the size of that font there. Hang on a sec. It's such a narrow column and such a wide spreadsheet here. Let's see, try around with this a little bit. How's that?
That's better, a lot better.
Let me close that one out, okay?
Okay.
Move this on over here.
There you go. Now, we're anticipating, you know how that is, whether it works or not, is that things will start opening up and we'll be able to do more things next fiscal year. So our budget for the next fiscal year, which Dwight already said that the budget committee has approved it, the Federation board has approved it, and now it's up to the membership to approve it. And to be on the ballot, and that'll be coming up after this meeting. But we think that we can go back to next fiscal year, go back to being able to do things that we did in the past. And if you look there, the budget from 21 through 22 is $24,000, and that's made up of the 10% funds we get from headquarters from membership, and the per capita from the chapters. At one time, those two figures was almost the same thing, but the reduction of chapters and members has caused that per capita to go down quite a bit. We're still going to have money for the banners if anybody wants to do that. And I'm anticipating, unfortunately, that we're going to have closed chapters. And when chapters close, the money they have left in their treasuries will go to the chapters that people transfer to, and anything left comes to the Federation. And that's why there's money in there to anticipate that we'll get from closed chapters next year. And of course, the money market interest is very low, but as you know, banks are not paying that much interest. So that's $24,000 is what we anticipate our budget will be for next year. If you scroll down, you'll see where we think our expenses will be for next year.
Hang on a second, Sam. Let me just.
Of course, we keep the budget for $24,000, which is the same as the income. We don't like to spend over our budget. We don't do that.
Hang on a second. I've got to unfreeze the frames here and stuff. So.
And back slower. But anyway, you can look through there and see where all the money we think we're going to spend for next year. The biggest expenses that we have is the ballot and teller and the mailing of the ballots each year in the newspaper. The rest of the stuff is pretty much standard of where we spend the money each year. And hopefully we can open back up and do more things and come to meetings with chapter meetings. We used to travel to chapter meetings and talk to the members of each chapter across the state. We haven't been able to do that in the last year or so for the pandemic, and also because of the tightness of money. Anyways, if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Our biggest representative to go in places has always been the president or the executive vice president. In the past, we've actually taken those two and split the state, state so wide that we've split those two positions and let them travel to the chapter meetings. And hopefully that'll happen again this coming year. Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Sam. Again, this is a ballot vote. The information was great. We appreciate everything that you do, and thank you for your efforts. At this time,